It was at this moment that he knew. He f***ed up.
Today we're going to see if a lightweight blue belt's speed and endurance can close the gap between an ultra heavy brown belt's strength and skill in 5 back-to-back matches. I'll be going up against Thomas, one of the nicest guys I have ever met on the mat. However, with his long limbs paired with guards such as De La Riva and being an absolute specimen of a man, this is going to be a tough day. Stay to the end so you can learn some techniques I use to adapt to bigger opponents while I get smashed by Thomas. Without further ado, let's jump right into the first round. Alright guys, so for the first round, we're going to start off by playing guard. I try to enter into X guard or K guard. Thomas is aware of this and does a good job at controlling my legs to stop my hooks. Rather than try and control him through getting under his hips, a better strategy probably would have been attacking the outside using techniques such as arm drags to get to his back. Anyway, Thomas is going to end up stuffing my ankles and fall into a body lock. I need to be framing and shrimping away, but he has too much weight advantage and skill advantage for me to do this effectively. The body lock he is using to pass is strong because not only does he nullify my butterfly hooks, but he also pins my back to the mat with a strong connection to my upper body. He'll end up passing and submitting me with the head and arm, and we will reset. Okay, so now Thomas is going to start playing guard. I start to work a variation of side-to-side passes such as the Toriano and leg drag to either get him to fatigue enough for me to commit to a pass or make him overcommit and take advantage of that mistake. You can see I'm trying to work far distance passing techniques because it is critical that I play to my strength of speed over Thomas. If he manages to slow me down, I enter into a slower paced game, which is exactly what happens. I end up getting caught with a collar grip as I throw myself inside to try to grab a knee slice. He hits a beautiful deep De La Riva back take to choke me out. Okay, so as we start round 2, I'm going to go in for a really crappy, poor executed knee slice, and I'm almost going to pay the price, but luckily I'm able to break off his deep De La Riva hook and move into a headquarters position. So right now, keeping my posture is critical in this scenario. I feel like the collar grip isn't a strong threat in headquarters without at least one sleeve grip, so my main focus is to keep my weight back to avoid his ability to elevate me. Once I've established my base, Thomas goes to shrimp out of the headquarters position. As he does this, I realize that his shrimping leg is no longer in contact with my leg, and this opens up a long step pass. My goal is to flatten his back to the mat. I try to do this utilizing a crossface to pin his head and a pants grip to prevent him from regarding. However, he's able to work towards his shoulder and begin to come up on an underhook. I attempt a flying triangle, but his underhook is too strong and he forces me back down to reverse the position. He flattens me out with a body lock pass, takes my back, and chokes me out with a bow and arrow. So after round 2, I'm starting to understand what techniques are more effective against Thomas. My knee slice couldn't pass his knee shield. My Toriano couldn't outrun his guard. The only thing that has worked so far was the backstep. So to start off round 3, I'm going to immediately dive into headquarters. So from headquarters, we're going to go for that same long step pass. As I was jumping on the long step, Thomas catches my leg. In order to prevent him from latching onto my thigh, I circle my knee and leg pommel over his hook. Notice how Thomas's back is flat to the mat. This is going to allow me to establish side control and work to try and get a submission. It doesn't take long for my man to shrimp out and start to come up. If you thought a 160-pound kid was going to hold down a bear, then you thought wrong. I try to jump onto a Kimura, but he defends by stuffing his arm into his thigh.
Nope.
From here, he makes me carry his weight and plays really patiently until I'm forced to give up the Kimura. He passes my guard and asserts a dominant knee on belly. I manage to deny him the underhook, but that doesn't stop him from reaching around my collar and sitting out on a cross choke to finish me off. We're going to restart standing, and I'm going to go for a few outside low single legs until I try a guard pull that I saw Gordon use at the ADCC this year. Thomas's grips are too strong to break, so I make him carry my weight as I sit down on a collar tie into a butterfly guard and then elevate him into a single X. Thomas manages to keep a solid base, breaks my single leg X, and advances to mount, then to my back to finish a rear triangle.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not.
We stand again and I attempt a humorous double leg. Thomas makes me kiss the floor in fashion and then proceeds to finish me with a guillotine. You can see as I go to grip break, I compromise my base, giving Thomas an easy takedown. We land in close guard, and Thomas is going to grab a hold of my right leg and pin it to the ground in order to pass. In this scenario, I want to keep his posture broken with a collar tie on his head and an overhook on his arm. From here, I continue to shrimp and move my hips back until I'm able to free my leg and work to finish the triangle submission. Thomas puts 2 hands beside my head in order to create wedges to prevent me from cutting the angle. By the time I do, he's already posturing and escaping the submission. From here, he wraps up on a Kimura grip and finishes me with a classic Kimura. Okay, that's it. It's the last round. My gas tank is small, but my ego is big. We're gonna go right back into headquarters to go for another long step pass. However, once I get to headquarters, I realize that his right hand is grabbing my ankle, which is opening an underhook for me to knee slice. He notices this and goes to block my knee as I go in for the pass. At the last second, I try to long step, but he catches my leg and forces me into half guard. I continue to try and apply downward pressure to try to flatten him out, and as I walk towards his head, he separates his legs, allowing me to long step pass using the same leg pommeling technique that I used in the first one. I dramatically high leg over his legs to get in the mount, and I grab an underhook to try to attack a mounted triangle. Thomas attempts to push my leg back into half guard, but I leg pommel back over his legs to avoid it. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to keep my knee pressure, and this allows him to stand up. I try to jump onto a triangle, but he blocks my far leg with his forearm, flattens me out, and then proceeds to hit one last cross choke before we end the day. So after many rounds of getting beat up, at least we walked away with some knowledge on how I can go about fighting larger opponents. I found that against bigger opponents, passing your opponent's feet first so you can avoid strong De La Riva frames or other types of long and lengthy guards proved to be really effective. The long step pass is becoming a leader in my passing arsenal. However, these attempts were meaningless without the ability to pin your opponent's shoulders to the mat. I would also like to give a quick disclaimer. As you can tell, I am a blue belt, so not everything I said in this video was exactly correct. I'm very open to tips and constructive criticism, so please feel free to leave your thoughts in the comments below. Other than that, make sure to like and subscribe to help me grow my channel, and I will see you guys in the next video.